Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show with Mike from Pudgy Boy Sports with his Z. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports for New York Nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go!
It's New York Minute Sports.
Well, there you have it, folks. Welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show, the Monday show. This is the free membership show. You get to peek behind the curtain and take a look at our Monday sports show with none other than Mike from Pudgy Boy Sports. Only for $1.99 a month, you get twice the show for half the dough. Mike, what's going on? You're back.
I'm back for my 2-week sabbatical. I was away for 2 weeks. Things were happening, but we are returned. And nothing's really changed in the sports world that I care about regarding baseball.
Mike was on an odyssey with Judge Judy, but we'll get to that later. The pressing issue of today is I've heard reports out of Queens. I'm glad you joined us because Mike is our Giants and Mets guy because we're both Knicks guys. Reports out of Queens. They're selling, and Juan Soto hurt himself on the set of a movie.
We've been selling for 3 months now. We've been selling baseball game after baseball game and selling hot garbage to the fans every single day that they come to Citi Field and every single time we watch. No, I don't know where the report actually came from that Juan Soto he re-injured his calf on the set of a movie with Emma Stone. Not true. It's just not true. I know it would be a very Met thing to happen if Juan Soto did hurt himself on the set of a movie. But I just don't think it's true at all.
Mr. Met got shot out of a cannon going over LaGuardia over the weekend. He sprained his ankle, going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. The Mets can't catch a break, and I know that you were very, very positive on the general manager, Stearns. What did you think about him laughing the other day during the press conference and showing literally zero remorse? Because I know in New York, we're a big fan of respect, even though we show zero to each other. But when you come into that press conference and you start giggling like a schoolboy with $1.25 of lunch money in his pocket, that's an optical nightmare, and so are the New York Mets. I know you were pro Stearns. What is the temperature on your feeling about Stearns right now?
I still love the guy, man. I'm not ready to give up yet. The laughing thing is something Mets fans are just going to have to deal with Stearns. It seems like that's just the personality, and it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. Like you said, in New York, you want to see somebody come up to that podium with red in the face, like they just screamed at somebody before they came up there, and tell everybody, this is how it's going to be. This is unacceptable. And would that make people feel a little better? I guess so. It would make people feel better, but if this guy's just the way he speaks is the way he speaks, and it is what he does smirk. He does laugh when he speaks sometimes. It could come off condescending. It could come off like he's maybe full of himself, but it doesn't really, for me personally, anything that comes out of the organization for the last month or so, it's just kind of become numb at this point.
You know what? And the question where he laughed right after was from a reporter asking him about like the emotional baggage that goes with releasing or trading guys. He's like, how do you deal with the emotions after that? He's like, well, emotions? I'm a general manager. You're out of here, okay? And if you haven't noticed, Stearns has zero emotions. He let Pete Alonso walk, who's blowing up in Baltimore. He let the core of the New York Mets go. Do you think maybe this is part of your Stockholm syndrome, Michael, where you've been abused so long that you're in love with your captor now?
Yeah, it could be. It could be completely the fact that I was just so, when you just believe in something so much, you hang on for just a little bit longer. You just want to make sure.
In Santa at 43, so yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. But Stearns ain't coming down the chimney with any presents for you, Mike. What is going to be the tipping point where you get upset? 2 years ago, you thought that you guys were going to be in the World Series last year, not from you, but from a majority of the bonehead Met fans. I heard this is going to be a Met town now with Uncle Stevie Cohen with all the money, and now Stearns, the guy that made the Brewers into what they are, perpetual winners. This was the winning formula. He took the DNA, the heart, and the spine out of the New York Mets and got this reclamation project where everybody is hurt on the team. He has some of the blame. In fact, I think he has all of the blame. The reason that I get so adamant about Stearns is to tie it in with the Yankees is they're trying to outsmart baseball, Mike. This game has been played for over 125 years. It's a simplistic game. That's why people took to it so much. You get on base, you move runners over, you score runs. It's as simple as that. Now with the matchup games, and that's what I've been saying since we started doing this show together. The New York Yankees run their team like it's the American League All-Star with matchups, defensive replacements, and shit like that. You don't have the clientele to do that. When you have a platoon of Ahmad Rosario and Ryan McMahon at third base, it's not going to get it done, and that's a poorly constructed roster. So the Yankees, now they come out of Philadelphia, they win the series. And Mike, I want to say to you, I've never seen a baseball team play itself for 3 games in a row because the Philadelphia Phillies are the carbon copy National League version of the New York Yankees. They play defense like they're on roller skates, strong starting pitching, a lineup that just goes ice cold out of nowhere that you think should be bopping home runs all the time. And the New York Yankees, just like the Philadelphia Phillies, are too home run reliant.
And it's a great comparison because when the postseason hits, and if you looked at the Phillies the last couple of years, good to above average pitching just completely shuts them down once the playoffs start. Guys like Schwarber disappear. Guys like Harper disappear. I just want to throw in, you saw what the Mets did to them just 2 years ago. I'm not just going to throw that in to make myself feel good.
Yep.
But once the playoffs start, those hitters, Turner, Real Muto, who's already not having a good year, the third Bohm, who they wanted gone the last 2 years, those guys just don't seem to perform. And it's definitely the National League version of the Yankees. But one thing that would separate them from the Yankees, I think, which I hate to admit, the Phillies aren't afraid to kind of push the chips all in when it comes to the trade deadline and go after guys like Duran or whoever they need to go get, which is there. I'm a little leery of the Phillies at this trade deadline more so than the Yankees, which I'd love to hear what you think the Yankees will do and what you want them to do.
I think the Philadelphia Phillies should go hard in the paint for Skubal. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world for them. Or, in fact, for the Philadelphia Phillies, the guy that would make the most sense for them, and I don't think that they have the equity in AAA, would be Mason Miller.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Now,
imagine?
That brings us to the New York Yankees and what they're going to do in this trade deadline. The New York Yankees went out and got a brand new bullpen last year. Now, they need to do the equivalent on the right side of the baseball. They need to do it on the offensive side of the baseball. Because my biggest fear, Mike, is that we go out and get Mason Miller and we don't score enough runs to get to him. What good is a Corvette if it's on cinder blocks in your garage? It does you no good. Not to mention, now that Shea Langoliers is hurt for the Sacramento A's or whatever they're calling themselves at this point, Mason Miller was moved last year for the number 1 prospect in baseball from the San Diego Padres. He was a shortstop. Now, the Oakland A's hold catchers in higher regard than they do their relievers. And for Mason Miller, he got a boatload, a king's ransom for Mason Miller last year. So what is it going to cost the New York Yankees for Mason Miller? It's going to cost them everything that's not nailed down. Now, this is another reason that might be a little risky. The Yankees are playing a little bit of a razor's edge game right here with the health of their starting rotation. Ryan Weathers and Will Warren are doing the 5-5-5 deal. That's 5 pizzas. Now, that's 5 innings, 5 runs, and 5 hits. They're working for dominoes. So now you have 3 strong starters in your rotation. Carlos Rodon, scrambled eggs in my brain, chips in my elbow. Now it's a full Western omelet because I'm on the IL. Is going to be coming back next week. What Carlos Rodon are we going to get back? I think he came back up to the major league level out of shape. He did not get into game shape down in Tampa. Even though your elbow's hurt doesn't mean you can't get it on an exercise bike and start pedaling like Lance Armstrong. So that being said, it's going to be a chess match between them getting Mason Miller and being able to hold this starting rotation because Will Warren or Weathers will be involved in a deal. Now that leads me to my second move that I want them to make. C.J. Abrams from the Washington Nationals. That can solve a lot of problems overnight. Then Ariz from the San Francisco Giants. If we can absorb a really bad contract and we can send Jazz Chisholm over there for another half of a year, maybe Jazz likes it there for 6 months, we'll re-sign with the San Francisco Giants. They're dying for stars. They're dying for guys that they can put out there and bring asses in the seats. So the New York Yankees are going to have to do major moves on the offensive side of the ball. Now, the rest of the league isn't that good, but that doesn't mean that the Yankees can't improve because the Boston Red Sox are coming up. And don't look now, but I keep saying it, the Toronto Blue Jays, if they're not sellers, they could still wind up making this division close at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's if there's any year the Yankees have to push all the chips in, and I'm almost certain Brian Cashman knows this, and if he doesn't, I don't know. He's been too good of a general manager for too long not to understand how weak the American League is, and the Yankees at their worst are better than any other team in the American League. So they need to do something to completely separate themselves from the pack. And like you said too, getting Mason Miller, who I think has 3 years of control left, you're looking at least a couple of your top 5 prospects, including probably Lombard. And if I'm you, dude, and I think you've been on board with me with this, there should be no prospect in that system if the right trade is there that is untouchable for me.
I think Brian Cashman should put on a blonde wig and do his best Jim Fossil impersonation and push all the chips to the middle of the table. That leads us to our next guy, Lombard Jr., because he is the discussion about who is touchable and untouchable. I know that's your favorite part of this story, but who gets touched and who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So Lombard apparently is untouchable. So was Miguel Andujar when we could have got Gerrit Cole from the Pittsburgh Pirates. We could have got Gerrit Cole before he went to the Houston Astros for Anthony Volpe and Miguel Andujar. Now, I know hindsight's 2020. The same thing's going to happen with Lombard Jr. Look at what we've been left with. Brian Cashman is the best used car salesman in all of baseball. Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells. Anthony Volpe was the next Derek Jeter, okay? Austin Wells was going to hit you 30 home runs. We were worried about the defense. All Austin Wells does is play defense and doesn't hit. Anthony Volpe isn't Derek Jeter. He's not even a mop and a bucket. So what I'm saying is he builds these guys up to trade them off, and when they're not traded, we're left with them, and we actually see what kind of players they are. Just like how we called Jason Dominguez the Martian, or Spencer Jones is the left-handed Aaron Judge. Then they wind up making him swing like Shohei Ohtani. Trust me, man, that guy's swing is at the bottom of the garage, and they're still trying to put it together like a transmission from a Datsun. So they got problems with their prospects. Now, with bringing them up, the injuries on the New York Yankees have hindered their trade stock. A guy like Will Warren with his outing last night didn't help his case. Duvall lately, who might be going to the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is the thing that blows my mind. Other teams are interested in these guys.
30 teams.
So like a guy like Will Warren, I'm like, how can they even trade him after this? What they need to do is take a guy like Will Warren, who has great equity, takes the ball 34 times a year. He doesn't have an out pitch. We saw that last night. He gets to the third inning. He gets up 0-2 on guys, gets it to a full count, cannot take them out, winds up walking them. Then that leads to big innings. If you were to give him to a guy like the Sacramento A's, or you give him to a franchise that has a 3-year plan where they can get him in the pitching lab and pitch him an out pitch, then you got something going with Will Warren. But that's 2 years away. And just to the point that you were saying, the window is closing on the New York Yankees with the impending strike and Aaron Judge and Gerrit Cole on this team. If Gerrit Cole and Aaron Judge leave the New York Yankees and they retire without a chip, it's an abject failure.
One thing that I just can't accept as a Mets fan who has disdain for the Yankees, but I do respect the Yankees and I respect certain fan bases. One thing that I just won't be able to accept at all watching from the outside, and I know you guys will feel the same way about this, if I hear Brian Cashman in 2 weeks after the trade deadline tell you, well, we didn't make this and this move because we're calling up Lombard, we're getting Cody Bellinger back, we're getting Giancarlo Stanton back, and we expect Aaron Judge to be back, it would absolutely infuriate me. And if the Yankees don't finish the job with that hypothetical, That, to me, as much as I respect and I really like Brian Cashman, that would be the final nail in the coffin for him as general manager of my baseball team.
Well, it's going to happen, but you bring up a great point because he usually peppers us up in the beginning with, hey, we're going to have Fried coming back. We're going to have Giancarlo Stanton coming back. We're going to have Aaron Judge. Those are theoretically trade acquisitions, and with Lombard coming up. I don't trust Lombard to perform offensively at a major league level. He could be a Gold Glover. Yeah, so was Anthony Volpe in his first year. I do think that Brian Cashman will pull his chips to the center of the table, and this is why he has built up so much equity in AAA and got the farm system to where it is. Not to mention what the Yankees have at this trade deadline, which they haven't had in their recent past, is starting pitching equity. You look all over Major League Baseball, what's the biggest problem is pitching. And people need starting pitching depth. There's injuries all over the major leagues, and that's exactly what the New York Yankees have. A guy like LaGranha, who, yes, he is hurt right now, but the stories of him throwing 104 coming out of AAA, perfect. Trade his ass. Trade everybody. Trade everyone that's not nailed down. And I think the reason that they're actually dragging their feet on all the evaluations of Aaron Judge is so they're not bending over a barrel during the trade deadline. Think about this scenario for a second. They come out a week ago, go, Aaron Judge is done for the rest of the season. Gone. Now we're not going to see him until next year. What do other teams do? Oh, the Yankees are desperate, guys. We're going to bend them over a barrel. We're going to take advantage of them, and we're going to hurt them while they're vulnerable. And also, that would mean that they're going to have to make a bigger leap with Cody Bellinger being hurt, Aaron Judge not coming back. They're going to have to get more weapons. So now the Yankees have it all out there. Everybody knows their business. They drag their feet a little bit on the imaging with Aaron Judge. Then teams are going to be like, all right, they're getting Aaron Judge back, so they're not as vulnerable. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. That's why Cashman's the best. And I think he'll take care of the deadline as well.
Well, listen, I don't know if Cashman's the best, but he has gotten much better at developing starting pitching, which we've always needed. And in this Major League Baseball, in this day and era, you can only keep pitchers for 5 years at league minimum. That's the window that you want to keep. Like, you hear teams like the Colorado Rockies, right? The reason that they're ready to give up their catcher that hits 30 bombs a year, who's already got 30 bombs this year, is because he's not part of the 3-year plan. They want to get to 91 wins within 3 years, okay? That's the kind of team that Will Warren needs to go to, Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez, guys that will be able to develop, because the New York scene is not a place where guys develop, okay? And if you do develop, you better come in and impact the team immediately, like Ben Rice, and you show up and show out and you stand out amongst the rest of the guys. When Robinson Cano came up, we knew he was different. We thought Gary Sanchez was going to be different. Hell, Shane Spencer back in the day. None of these young guys have come in and had that one monumental week where they take over the Yankees and we get Linsanity for either Spencer Jones or Jason Dominguez.
Yeah, and you got to be careful with these guys, man, because Mark Vientos is a guy, you just look at what he did at the end of in second half of 2024, and then what he did in the playoffs. You thought this guy was the next superstar in New York baseball, but it just you can't fall in love with these guys because they come up, they perform well, and then they just fall off the face of the earth, and they could easily do it, especially in New York.
Now, Vientos was the third baseman, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, now Vientos, he's the Trent Grisham of the New York Mets. Why would you re-sign that guy after a career year? And both of these teams, they don't believe guys get hot. They believe guys are streaky. That's why they sit them after hitting 3 home runs after a game, because the computer tells them not to. So they're almost contradicting themselves with these kind of moves.
Yeah, and I'll always go back to the prospecting. Your top 25 prospects, you'll be lucky if 2 or 3 of them are impact guys on your roster.
Yeah.
Trade them all.
So the Yankees have their work cut out for them. It's going to be a major trade deadline for a lot of teams. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to keep that notifications on. And don't forget to go over to Mike, Pudgy Boy Sports. It's a Z on the boys, okay? Go over there. Give him a like. Give him a subscribe. Go over to Instagram right now. No, don't wait. Mike, Pudgy Boy Sports with a Z on Instagram. Blowing up Let's get his YouTube popping because we're going to be covering football. We're going to be doing wall-to-wall. This is the Monday membership show. If you pay the $1.99 a month, you get twice the show for half the dough. He's a Giants fan. I'm a Jet fan. He's a little country. I'm a little fucking rock and roll. So don't forget to hit the notification button. And remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Don't forget to get our Timothy t-shirts. Good night, Canada. Bye.
That's your boy.
So
He
have the
said
word
he was.
goodbye. That's my boy.